So the first question someone has asked is what is the maximum yield of the polymer in the flow synthesis? So yield so far we have attained is like 85, 88%. We still have to optimize. So that is still an ongoing process. Another question is which one is preferred copolymer between covalent and self-assembled for photovoltaic? So studies so far show that actually the covalent approach is the better one for especially for the solar cell applications. What polymers are being made here? Okay, how was the lamellar formation in HRTEM used to confirm the self-assembly? Oh, well, so the HRTM, there are different types of self-assembly. Like the one I have shown here is a lamellar assembly. So you can see that I had in the schematic side, I showed you that if I have the donor and acceptor material in the 10 to 20 nanometers length scale, if I can assemble like that, that would be a very good arrangement. So a lamellar assembly of donor and acceptor materials in the this length scale, that would be very advantageous for improving the charge transport. How to decide if in general if my material is good for solar cell applications? See, you may design what we have understood is that we may design a system with all the right ingredients like the donor and acceptor, the energy tuning, all that. But eventually, if the morphology is not good, then it is not going to result in good device efficiencies. There are several tricks to improve the morphology also. You do solvent annealing, temperature annealing, you do additives also. That way also this can be improved. And yeah, so power conversion efficiency like almost 13 to 14% with polymers have been also reported in the literature. What's the method developed for bilirubin sensing used in clinical trials? No, we haven't gone for clinical trials with this. And would it be available in the market? So for the market, some interested company has to come up, start up at least. Then we can scale up the material and take it up to higher levels. Could you comment on how the materials works in flow separation, dynamic separation, for the chiral separation? Well, yeah, the dynamic separation we haven't approached yet. See, even with the chiral separation also, if we could develop systems where these are commodity polymers, which we can make in larger quantities, that would be a good system to try different approaches. Because with these pi conjugated materials, you first of all do not make large quantities, and then trying different approaches may not be feasible. No, not. I have not tried. The question is, have you tried other than bilirubin for sensing using your materials? No, I have not tried other than bilirubin. Is it possible that the polymer could bind with protein of interest to detect? It is possible. There are several reports of polymers that are used for specific protein binding. There are the specific analytes linked on the polymer, then specific protein binding is possible. How sensing of bilirubin is done by using polystyrene and polyfluorine based polymers? Can you explain properly? Well, the polymer is just a scaffold. It is we have linked the target molecule on the polymer. Like in the case of the polystyrene or polystyrene, what we have seen is that bilirubin interacts selectively with glucuronic acid. So if glucuronic acid is linked on the polymer, whatever polymer, so there can be selective interaction. And when they come, when selective interaction happens, that is bilirubin comes in close proximity of the polymer. If the polymer is fluorescent, then it will detect it. That is the, so we have combined the two concepts here. One is we have a selective analyte target interaction, and another thing is a method of sensing, which is the fluorescence. So in with polyfluorine, the polymer itself was fluorescent, so we didn't have to add a separate fluorophore. With polystyrene, we added, since polystyrene is not fluorescent, we have added a fluorophore, which also functions in the same way as the polyfluorine, or emitting in the same range. How did you prepare spherical polymer micelles? This is possible with the emulsion polymerization methods. There are several methods of emulsion, dispersion, etc. methods, and specifically the mini emulsion method. It will allow you to go down in the size in the 100 to 150 nanometer length scale. These are almost. This is a well-established technique. We have just adopted it for our system. And these polymers be used for the solid phase separation detection of bilirubin-like devices. Yes, it should be possible. With polystyrene based ones, we have used polystyrene films, freestanding films, for detecting vapors of detect explosives, etc., which I have not shown here in my presentation. So if we can make the, we can of course make the freestanding films of polystyrene, which can be used for bilirubin detection, although we haven't done it. If some interested startup approaches us, we will definitely try that. Does the molecular weight have an effect on the morphology of the membrane? Oh, what happened? What? Morphology of the membrane and porosity. Yes, yes, that is what we understood. So in our group itself, when we repeated the synthesis of the glucuronic acid functionalized polyfluorine, we found that reproducing the same morphology was difficult. So molecular weight is also a dependent factor. So that is why our second approach, that is when we coat it on a membrane, it is much more wider application, because it is not dependent on the morphology, which you may or may not get. Was the problem in the colorimetric analysis in detecting bilirubin that biosensors are now being used? What was the problem in the colorimetric analysis in detecting bilirubin that biosensors are now being used? What was the problem? I haven't understood the question properly. Colorimetric detection is if there is a visual detection. Here, what we have shown is a fluorimetric detection. Fluorimetric detection, for that you need at least a handheld UV lamp. What we have shown is that instead of a commercial spectropluorimeter, just with a handheld lamp, you can put this material in a test tube, and then also you can see the color change happening. And this fluorimetric based method is much more sensitive than a color based method of detection. So I presume that there are no more questions. So I will. Yes,
Professor Asha, we do not find any question in the chat box also. So I think you have answered all the questions. And
yes.
So on behalf of the audience, let me thank you for such an illustrative and insightful talk on polymers for enantioselective separation and biosensing. The lecture must have inspired these young researchers and other people to think and define new problems in material science. And we hope you enjoyed the Q&A session.